Hey everybody, welcome back to Visual Novel Book Club. I'm your pal Slowbeef. With me, of course, is my good friend Devious Vacuum.
The last time. Drink up, lads.
My good friend Jim.
Hey everybody.
My good friend Turbo C.
That was a
Out
wet
of
one.
bottle.
My good friend Oren Ronan.
Since 5 a.m. over here, I'm not drinking any soda.
Hold on, wait. Okay,
Okay, thank you.
Oh my god.
I have two open ones now. And my good friend Polahoko.
You got another spare?
Alright, hold on.
It can be edited in.
Pour one out for your homies. Here on Visual Novel Book Club.
You do not have to grab 4 different sodas.
Yeah, just use the same noise again. We're not doing that. We're done with this game, everyone. Thank you for joining us.
That's it. It's the final episode. It was fun. We just opened all the sodas.
God, what a good game. What a good story.
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
That was a lot of fun.
The ending was really good. I really enjoyed it. This game's like a long way to get there, but that also earned it some. It earned a lot of goodwill. I think at the end because you knew the characters well, and it pays off.
Mm-hmm.
My one main gripe about it, the ending, is I wish it featured the other characters more. Like, it spent a lot of time establishing Ferris and Luca and Moeka, and it goes back to the main 4.
Yeah, I feel like Ferris and Luca are just kind of there for their own chapters, and then the story doesn't know what to do with them anymore.
Right.
They don't really have any additional role at all.
Hey, hold on.
Yay! It's me, Polahoko.
Oh my god. Slowbeef is triple fisting Seltzer this
I
whole
am,
recording.
actually.
This is going to be the most hyped up recording.
No, alright, the truth, quadruple. I had one already open.
One for each of your computer monitors.
Why are we going through so much soda this month? Oh, it's because I got a podcast, honey.
Imagine my wife would be like, I think you're drinking too much seltzer during your pod.
Your wife's so accusatory.
There's just all these open cans on your desk. Just not empty, just open.
We had a seltzer discussion at work, by the way, but I'm not. Alright, I'm derailing. Anyway,
All right.
Seltzer, $5,000. Please help, my family's dying.
When we last left Okabe Rintarou, we were getting the true ending by going back in time to the last text message that we sent to Makise Kurisu and responding to her, completing the Kurisu route. And then what happens?
The credits roll.
Yes, then nothing different happens until the credits. So it's the same. She knocks on the door at the last second before he hits the enter key and is like, I love, and then that was it. And all that plays out exactly the same way. And the credits roll, but then, during the credits, a phone starts to ring.
And it's Suzuha.
Yeah, Daru answers the phone, and Suzuha's talking to him, and
An immediate calls him dead.
Yeah, calls him dad.
It's like, what? I'm your dad?
He never quite gets it. He never quite understands what's going on, which is great.
He sort of just rolls with it, though.
Well,
Yeah.
Understandable that he doesn't get what's going on.
Yeah, Daru is, Daru has the ability to yes and, which we do like about him. And we start chapter 11, Open the Steins Gate. So Suzuha calls Daru and Rintarou and tells them to meet her on the roof of Radikan, where, and at this point, it's really a trial to remember the beginning of the game, as we remember that there was a time machine on the roof of Radikan at the beginning of the game, but it was not embedded in the wall. It was just sitting there, and we remember that happened, and so we go see it, and there it is, and Suzuha gets out of the time machine, but it's a different Suzuha.
It's also a different time machine. It looks different from the one we've been seeing.
Yeah, it looks better.
How dare you?
It's like one of those damn Star Wars prequels. How did you get nicer stuff beforehand?
Yeah.
It's like, it's a cool gaming computer instead of the, old version of it. Just 1995 PC.
The Alienware of time machines.
Suzuha stands up from her cool gamer chair and gets out of the... So, it is Suzuha. It's her, but it's Suzuha from this alternate world line, so it's Suzuha from a different future than ours. Than the previous one, where she was a freedom fighter.
Right.
And she is wearing a military-esque uniform. Some might say a sexy women's military Halloween costume.
Some might say that.
Sexy soldier, you know that stereotype.
Yeah, that's sort of like that. And her hair's different. Her braids are like in loops, so it's slightly different.
Because this time she means business.
Yeah, she's really serious. And so, what does she tell? What does she tell us?
We need to stop World War III.
Is there always a problem?
And only one otaku can solve it.
Yeah, I was like, are you kidding me? Like, I just went through all this, and, like, you're gonna give me this bullshit? Is this never gonna end?
I love this. It's like we finally reached the, like, quote-unquote true ending, and we've finally come to terms with our time travel, and we've been through all this shit, and then Suzuha appears, I know that you've gone through all this shit, but I just need you to do a little more time travel. Just a little more.
Yeah, this ultimate ending that you accomplished apparently killed 5.7 billion people. Oh boy! You know the scene in The Simpsons when they keep stepping on rakes? It's like that, but 5.7 billion people died.
Rintarou turns to the camera and just irises out.
Well, the whole thing has been like the Treehouse of Horror, where Homer gets the time machine, and it's like he can't get back to a time where it's like gonna work out for him. Remember? No.
Yeah, I remember that one.
We
remember.
We get the analogy.
It's just very literal. It's because this is also what's happening to Rintarou.
You just Simpsons did it.
That's why I use the analogy. I mean,
who did it first? When did that episode come out?
Probably before the start.
Definitely
yeah.
The Simpsons.
well, in this timeline.
Right.
True.
The Simpsons did seal the thesis for concept.
That's why John Titor had to go back the first time. I have to get back before the Simpsons.
I have to inspire Steins Gate.
Oh my god. So Suzuha confirms she is the John Titor of this world line, like she stopped in 2000.
Yeah, the one that you remember.
Yeah, the one we all know and love.
And Rintarou is understandably just like, no, absolutely not. Fuck you, go away. I'm not doing this anymore.
He even is just like, I don't want to do this anymore because, that you're putting a lot of burden on me. But also, it's one person versus, 6.7 billion? He's just like, you can't make that judgment call.
Yeah.
It's not like the other times where it was one person versus one person and you very specifically had to choose your favorite.
Yeah. Oh my god. He's done. He's like, none of this meant anything. Kurisu died. I'm not doing this again. I'm not, she did this, then she died for nothing. Nothing matters. And Suzuha's like, what if, hypothetically, in order to save this world line from World War III, we need to go back in time and prevent Makise Kurisu from dying?
She's totally lying.
But I have nothing left to undo. I already undid everything. The stack's empty.
And she has a real time machine, a time machine that brings people through physical space to the point, which is another just like kind of a big jump as well.
But it can't move physically.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Like they can only teleport to other instances of the Radicon building.
Yeah, so they must have had to build it like up on a thing or whatever in the future so that it would show up right on the Radicon building.
Yeah, so what happens if you go back to before the Radicon building was built? Does it just fall down to the ground?
I'm going to guess that it did that to fix the problem of just like sending stuff out into space.
Oh my god, yeah, was Radicon there in 1975.
Yeah, it would fall, right?
Yeah, it was there in 1935, but what would happen if she'd go even back even
Yeah, went
further
back
back?
further.
I guess it would fall.
Yeah, she would probably appear there and then it would fall.
And then going forward, it would be inside the building.
This is the stupidest.
Or you have to... But it does conflict with Kurisu's, like, beginning lecture where it was like, no, any time machine also has to be a teleportation device.
There is a line over there where she says it's more complicated than that, but she doesn't explain why.
Yeah, but no, explain. Okay, so there's a lot of this ending that definitely feels like it was written first, and this is one of it. Like, they changed their entire rules of time travel on a whim this chapter.
Honestly, though, they've been taking liberties. I mean, again, like, I'll bring up Nay. Nay is, like, supposedly time traveling, but she can't do it because she doesn't have a cell phone.
Yeah.
It feels like this was to satisfy the feeling you had the whole time of like, but where's the real time travel? Where's the two Okabe Rintaros exist at the same time? Where is it? I need that. Please show this to me.
And don't get me wrong, I love this chapter. It's so
me too,
good.
yeah.
But it, like I said in I think the first episode of this podcast that it breaks its own rules once, and I was referring to this chapter.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they go straight back to the future rules now. Like, to the point where, like, the machine can go backwards and forwards. They are running out of fuel to use the machine, which you can't get apparently in the past. So, it's, you know...
Like, what does that even mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing we were missing was him running into himself, but he was turned around or something.
No.
The one thing I didn't like was where they had, well, it's going to be later, but when they go back a second time, and they don't have to worry about meeting the first iteration, because a handwave.
Yeah, they did not explain that at all. Suzuha does say that we have 2 chances at this.
Oh, well, let's talk about her plan.
Yeah. We have fuel for two round trips.
Oh yeah, the explanation is that we can go back and prevent her death, and that's like it's like an attractor field, except it brings us to a world line that hasn't been observed yet. Meaning we don't know what'll happen.
I think that she says that later, and the first time she just tells us we have to save Kurisu and let's go.
No, she talks about
that stuff.
Oh, she does?
And yeah, she says the world line known as Steins Gate, and she's also like, this is your plan from the future.
She even tells you that we have to go back like negative 0.08 relative to this. She gives us the exact number of
So she has it all worked out, which I would hope you would if you were time traveling.
Yeah,
So.
and she's also like, Okabe Rintaro, like, this was his plan, and he died like X years ago, and then Daru like kept the plan going, and now that's why she's here, and so she's like met them in the future.
I like to think in the future too. He's like, step 1 of the plan: do not just wing it. Believe me.
well, future him. This step 1 of the plan is die, because like,
well, that's fair.
He planned this out, and then 11 years after, Daru and Suzuha go back in. Well, Suzuha goes back in time. I presume it takes 11 years for Daru to do that.
And Daru is still alive in the future, so she's like talking to Daru and is like, Dad, and Daru is like, look, lady.
Wait a minute. If Suzuha has to be the one that does this, is part of the plan getting Daru laid?
No.
That's already happened. They don't need it's confirmed, right? Because she exists in the future. So
No, that only happens in Terminator, where there's an implicit like, hey, you have to protect my mom and also bang her. You know.
Did John Connor ever learn that?
I don't know. I think Terminator's just a big mind fuck. I have a whole podcast about that. No, it's we just, well, I don't know if we want to get into that. Maybe after, but
check out Slowbeef's other podcast, Talking Terminator.
We did in Red Supre, we did a time travel game called Shadow of Destiny. And Ike, who recommended it to us, we did a podcast with her to talk about the time travel in that game. And I brought up the notion of Terminator and how there had to be some third, like a different John Connor that we know of, some event C that creates the double feedback loop A and B that cause each other. Like when you have like a cause and effect that are each other's cause and effect. The only way it really works is if you have some other, like, event outside of it that causes that, like, loop to happen and then disappears from the timeline forever and we never hear about it. Anyway, that's the short version.
Yeah, that kind of loop happens in most time travel stories.
Yeah,
that,
exactly.
like, unexplained, like, where did this come from?
Right, but not in Terminator. Terminator, they don't actually do it. They just go like, hey, by the way, Kyle Reese is his father, whatever. It's like, wait, that doesn't work, though. It has to, like,
Well, my headcanon is still that Ferris is Suzuha's mom.
All right. Anyway.
You know what? That's kind of hinted.
Yeah?
Yeah, there's a moment where he's like, where she's like, "Oh, could I come by after he?" Well, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'll bring it up when we get there.
But anyways, Daru is a little bit creepy about. She's like, he is saying, "Don't call me daddy. Can I see myself as a more big brother type?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we can't not have that.
I love that Daru is canonically a great dad, though. Like, once he actually has a kid and settles down, like, canonically, Daru's a great dad. I don't know why I love that so much. It's just great. I just, I want, the spin-off that's just Daru, adjusting to, settling down and, letting go of his otaku pervert ways and, being in a relationship and, having kids.
Well, no, he wouldn't let go of that. He would adjust a little bit. There would be the parts where he's like, I want my kid to watch anime. Here's some good kid anime for you.
Yeah.
You don't want your kid watching anime. Even Daru's smart enough to know. He
would have some transition period, where he would have to, reconcile these, two parts of his life. And I don't know. I want a visual novel about that. Where I'm going to go look up fanfic about that later.
You might like parts of Steins Gate Zero.
Oh boy. We gotta do it now.
There's a lot of Daru Suzuha stuff over there.
I just picture, future Daru as, sitcom dad.
Absolutely.
We're just gonna do this this podcast out of order, just like Steins Gate.
Exactly. All right, so
Rintarou at first is like, I don't want to do this, and there's no point in doing this. Can I even save Kurisu if I go back in time? Does that even matter? Because I've already observed July 28th, and she was lying in a pool of blood, so, how could I possibly fix that?
And there's convergence, so most likely whatever it does, she will still die.
Yeah.
Even if not for the same reason.
Rintarou's not figuring that out. He's probably still on, but I saw the blood. That's the only problem I can think of.
But he already saw the time machine, so he's like, oh, well, this already happened, so I might as well say yes, because I know I'm going to say yes, because I've already seen the time machine, so I'm not, so he agrees to do it. And Suzuha says, you can't bring your phone. And I felt like that was, some kind of, really big moment that he didn't have his phone, because his phone has been so key to this whole game. He uses it as a coping mechanism. It's so important to him, and he can't bring it for this last adventure.
But he's just like, no, that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely felt like symbolic, to the story, but not to the characters. I don't know. I was like,
yeah.
Moment. So then, they have 2 chances to change the past. Rintarou finally undergoes. So they set off. Suzuha and Rintarou go out, take the time machine back to a month ago or whatever.
3 weeks.
3 weeks ago. And Rintarou undergoes the sensation of going through that wormhole that we described a long time ago, heading toward that event horizon, getting all stretched out.
Yeah, he described it as a pulling, and falling sideways. And Suzuha is just like, oh, we won't have air for 3 minutes. You can't breathe. And she just says that, alright, here we go.
Yeah, she's like, lean forward and there'll be air there. It's fine.
Yeah, but he's also he's pinned back by the G-forces that are pulling him sideways. It's how's he getting forward to breathe that air?
She also says that it took hours when she had to go back all the way from the future.
Yeah, what's that all about?
Yeah, she says depending on how much you travel back, the longer it takes. Which, I mean, I guess that makes sense with relativity. How it's described there, but...
I will say, just again, very quick aside, like, the movie Primer covers that, and that's, like, kind of really, like, really interesting in the whole, like, the time you're taking time traveling is time you're spending, and you have to account for it when you time travel. But anyway, I digress. That's a complicated fucking movie.
Yeah. So, Suzuha, when they land, I guess, they succeed, and Suzuha is like, okay, you can't let your past self see your current self, well, that'll cause a paradox. And he's like, I thought that couldn't happen. And she was like, I lied about that. It can happen. I'm John Titor. And he was like, oh, okay.
John Titor said it couldn't happen, which is you. Yeah, it can happen. I just wanted to fuck with some people.
Who's the time traveler here?
So there are events that are consistent with what happened at the beginning of the game, or like you can see how it makes sense based on what happened to us at the beginning of the game. So Rintarou slips in as so Suzuha shoots the lock on the door, which we remember hearing from the beginning of the game, and then everyone went up to the roof and saw the time machine. And while that happens, Rintarou slips inside down the stairs, and while he's going down the stairs, he runs into Kurisu, who asks him what happens on the roof. And we know from the beginning of the game that she came up to him later and was like, what were you trying to tell me? And he was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And when he sees her alive and in front of him, he freezes up. He can't get out what he's trying to say. He starts to say, can I save you? But he can't even get that out. He just says, like, can I? And then he runs away.
Yeah.
So that's what Kurisu was asking us, so that's what Kurisu was asking about at the beginning of the game, is basically, that's that moment. And he just goes and, hides out in the place that he knows that she will be murdered to observe what's happening. So, Kurisu appears, he waits for like 20 minutes and like has a panic attack and doesn't know what he's gonna do. He doesn't even have a weapon, like he's really not calm at all about this. He doesn't really believe that he can do anything about it. And Kurisu appears in the place where she'll be murdered. She's carrying a manila envelope and she's like happy about it and excited or whatever. And then what happens, folks?
Dr. Nakabachi shows up.
Is this a surprise to anyone?
No.
I don't think so.
And as soon as he popped up, everybody's just like, oh, it's her dad.
Yeah.
He's kind of the only character left.
As soon as she said her dad was a time travel scientist, I was like, oh, he's that guy. Why else would he have a sprite?
Well.
Yeah, that's the big giveaway, right?
Pretty much,
If you got a sprite, you're important for the plot.
I was hoping it was whatever that weird boy was in Ferris's room.
Yeah.
Sheed, I think, or what is his name again?
All that is coming to mind is 6ix9ine, and I know it's not that.
69 degrees Celsius.
It's like she.
Yeah,
like,
it's 4 degrees.
Like,
Shido.
Shido.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What if, like, the collectible card game gang was behind everything?
God. Where's the Yu-Gi-Oh version of this? Anyway, this is... God. This
did surprise me when I first watched it.
I did not guess that this is what was going to happen at all. I did not think for a second that this is why Kurisu died.
I think Dr. Nakabachi is the worst father I've ever seen in anything.
Dr. Nakabachi is like a cartoon character. He's like, in a game that's full of like real people, especially villains, like Dr. Nakabachi is a cartoon character, and that was pretty jarring.
Yeah, and like, Kurisu talks about her dad a lot, but never mentions how fucked up he is.
What a monster he is!
I don't think she realizes.
I expected this guy to be her dad. I did not expect him to just be a psychopath.
Yeah. And then, like, it's, like, so horrible, because she's like, Dad, like, kind of to connect with him, you know, I think I figured out time travel, and he's like, thanks, yoink, is his whole, like, And then, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he's just pure evil. Like, there's no redeeming feature to him whatsoever. Like, there's nothing, like, there's no, like, even hint of why she would have these feelings for him, which he still does. Like, he seems like a freaking monster.
Just like in real academia, am I right, folks? Ha!
There is one point where you're like, you think he might be nice because he's reading through the proposal that she hands to him, and he's like, oh, this is pretty good. And then she's like, oh, really? I was thinking we could publish it together. And then he's like, what'd you say, you bitch? And then it's like, hold on there. I realize you suck, but...
He's like, I'm gonna publish it, and you're just gonna leave. And she was like, are you... What? Like, are you saying you're gonna steal my work? Like, she's just so incredulous, and he gets so mad at her for saying that he was gonna steal her work, that he starts to choke her.
I can't even imagine how he is, like, justifying this in his mind. Like...
You know, I can kind of at least justify Kurisu's actions, where it's like, because I can kind of see this, like, sort of like, okay, neglectful parent that, like, you're trying to get the approval of sort of thing happening, you know?
Mm-hmm. Like, the entire situation, she's kind of walking around on eggshells, like, trying to appease him, and it's just not working.
Kurisu was like 10 when he left, and all she has is memories of him from when she was a kid, so... Obviously.
Yeah. So, I get that. Yeah, that part I get. I don't get him at all. Like, because it's like, it's really hard for me to, like, come up with a scenario in my head that you'd act like this outside of, I'm a complete psychopath, yeah, or, I mean, not psychopath, I mean, I'm a completely, like, horrible, evil person. I don't know how I met someone who I had a relationship with and got married and had a kid with, and they tolerated me, but somehow, you know, here we are. I don't know. It's like kind of,
it's a lot darker than you would guess from everything we know about Kurisu and what she's said so far.
According to Kurisu, Kurisu said he was a good father until she started being smarter than him.
Yeah.
Because he wanted to be the smartest person in every room.
I could see him, like, maybe possibly being really angry that she got there first, you know? And, I mean, I guess...
It had to be, like, blindingly angry, because there's no way, like, to logically be, like, for him to, like, calm down and be like, I'm taking this, and I'll feel not guilty about this, or inferior for the rest of my life.
Yeah, I spent my whole life researching this, and my stupid daughter just gets it at, like, how old is she again? 17? Like, 17, you know? Or it's like, I am such an idiot. I'm just gonna take her work. Fuck it. I'm done with any sort of modicum of civility or anything. And then I'm gonna start choking. All right, I can't make the leap there. That's still tough for me.
Yeah, the leap to physical violence is also a lot.
It really goes to illustrate that he's just absolutely does not regard his daughter as a person at all. Like, he is completely fine with her dying. Like, he does not care at all.
I mean, he either kills her or he sees her killed and just goes away happy about it.
He's got this, like, complex that, like, he thinks that he is better than everyone, but there's no evidence to point to that, so I'm not sure where this started.
Yeah, in this world line, he's, like, constantly ridiculed and shunned by the community, so it's like, I don't know, maybe that's just been fueling him.
This is not a proper solution, because obviously it would cause... I feel like if she were his, like, intern or assistant or someone who looked up to him, kind of, like, if you take away that parent-child relationship, this makes a lot more sense, but obviously then not from her perspective, you know what I mean?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, I can't see his side on this at all.
Well, then, at some point, just, like, maybe this guy has always been, you know, for lack of a better term, just completely, like not just, like, psychotic, but someone who had suffered a break at some point, and is totally disassociative of all this stuff. And maybe this happened years ago, which is why he stopped talking to a 10-year-old.
Right, yeah.
And now that has just built on itself as somebody who's remained untreated for years and who is just festered in whatever incredibly, you know, out there world that he, you know, inhabits in his own head.
If you were, I could see actually maybe if you were a narcissist or something, and then the fact that your kid surpassed you, and so easily.
This is a level of narcissism beyond, like...
I'm like wondering where he got his PhD from that he is, like, so easily beaten by a 10-year-old.
And where's he still working? Where's he been working for the last 7 years? What's he been doing?
Yeah, she just got a mug for him that said Dr. Dad. And he thinks he's the actual doctor.
Yeah. Because you know what the best thing about being a parent is? You can totally fucking take credit for your kids.
Well, also, we learned very shortly that he fucking calls himself Dr. Nakabachi, but that's not his name.
Yeah.
And, like, on the news, they don't identify him as, like, Dr. Makise Shuichi, so I don't know. Maybe he doesn't have a doctor.
That's just his DJ name.
So what happens, like, Rintarou tries to interrupt him choking her, and then...
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
And he disarms him, and he's like, I can take this guy, and it's like, basically, he's like, I'm gonna just fucking kill this guy, fuck this guy.
Yeah, we kind of skipped over this, but he just happened to have with him, like, a 6-inch combat knife.
Yeah, dude was already carrying a knife for some reason.
Like, they even say, why would you even carry that?
It's a pretty big knife, too.
To a lecture on time travel, too.
To a lecture on time. What was he planning on doing? If he gets too many hecklers, he just dives into the audience and starts slashing everybody?
And plus, it happened! It happened! Rintarou heckled him! He didn't even do shit!
Yeah.
And he was already, so he's worked up at Rintarou already because Rintarou heckled him in the past, yeah.
Alright, so here's my thought. He brought the knife because, you know, this is the spot where time travel is discovered in his mind. And there's all these theories about all the time travelers will always want to go back to this moment. So he's like, alright, I'm going to need to be able to fend off all the time travelers that will come into the room.
With just a knife?
Yes.
Also, all the time travelers, you're basically bringing a knife to a laser gun fight. Like, what the fuck? Like, who's coming back from 2050? I don't think they're going to be impressed by your 6-inch blade.
Credit where it's due. It fucking worked. I mean, it worked.
Yeah, it did.
In a manner of speaking. Someone got stabbed, yeah.
So, Rintarou goes to kill Nakabachi, but of course he's Kurisu's father, so she tries to stop Rintarou and jumps in front of him, and Rintarou ends up stabbing Kurisu instead, which seems like a lot. It seems like that would be hard to do, but that's what happens.
Well, it's sort of implied she jumps in front of him.
And Rintarou is just so clumsy. He's just kind of tripping over himself with the knife out.
The knife is so heavy, he can't stop his hand, like, even part way. Like, and he even is like, it takes a lot to stab someone. Like, it's not just like a hot knife through butter. Like, it's just a lot. Yeah.
Tell us about the details of stabbing someone, D-Mac.
It's kind of funnier in the anime version of it too, because it's completely accidental on the anime version, because she just pushes him out of the way while Okabe is running towards him, and so he has like a good 10 feet to stop, and he just doesn't. He's like, well, I'm just gonna stab someone.
Yeah, like, it's a little silly, but, you know, time has to have, you know, fate, causality. It has to happen.
To be fair to Steins Gate, too, the story kind of has to happen in a way, too, so yeah, totally.
So, then, if we remember from the beginning of the game, when Rintarou was, he thought that he should go back and see what was going on because he heard a blood-curdling scream coming from the place where Kurisu died, and when he realizes that he killed her, he screams and realizes that the blood-curdling scream that he heard was his own scream.
I guess I wouldn't recognize my own scream, to be totally fair.
Not that kind of scream, I don't think.
Well, it's like how you don't really recognize your voice when you hear it on recording. You're like, it's not really me.
Yeah.
But like a scream of such anguish, you would never think like, oh, is that me?
I don't sound like that.
I better check on me.
Am I okay?
But if that happened in a lecture on time travel you just attended, you would be freaked the fuck out.
Yeah. You'd be like, I definitely gotta go check this out.
And I would be like, well, am I sure that wasn't just Voidburger screaming?
That sounds like a prank somebody would set up. Like, you go to a time travel thing and there's like someone else there who just dresses like you did that day.
Oh my god. What a great prank to pull if you're twins.
What a specific
Specific pranks for...
Prank all the people at the time travel lecture.
But if you have a twin, is your first instinct at the time travel lecture? That certainly isn't my twin. It's probably me.
You get to what happens at the bar is the other twin goes to like with their friend, and they're like, your sibling went to a time travel and you missed out on this once in a lifetime prank.
Yeah.
Like, what prank? You could have pretended, and then
Yeah.
But it's like, but they would have figured it was me because he always sees me doing it. It's like, all right, yeah, it's true. I guess it wouldn't have worked out.
Being an identical twin
Have
must
another beer.
be like, being in a time travel like movie or show, but all the time.
They could prank the audience. The audience,
It's just the Spider-Man meme all the time.
I mean, but the audience has heard of twins. This isn't as good as everyone thinks it is. Damn it!
Anyway,
It's okay. We'll workshop it. We can make this work.
We're making light of a very serious and heartbreaking situation. So
Right.
Rintarou realizes that he accidentally killed Kurisu, and that was, he's like, this is what I observed. This is exactly what happened. This already happened. I killed her. Why am I being punished like this? Suzuha.
Oh yeah, Time Machine has one more charge in it.
Dr. Nakabachi just takes Kurisu's paper and laughs and runs away.
Oh
he's
yeah,
just like,
motherfucker runs away.
Jesus.
Fuck this guy.
he twists his curly mustache and
Yeah, for real.
And then he finds a Dad of the Year mug, and he says, "I'm just gonna get this just to be a total asshole."
Oh my god. And so
Look at me piss on your grave, daughter. Like, gee.
So Rintarou can't even move, so Suzuha has to come and grab him back to the time machine.
Suzuha's like, "How did it go?"
And they go back to the present to regroup. Like, they don't, I thought that they would have to just immediately leap again, but they don't have to. They can go back to his present.
yeah, she said 2 round trips, which I would have thought, that they would have just gone back to an hour ago. But
So he has time to process it, which is good.
Yeah, he wouldn't be able to do anything if they just went back at that moment.
Yeah, so he gets out of the time machine covered in blood. Everybody's like, what the fuck? It's only been a minute. So they're all like, holy shit. And Suzuha's like, oh, it's okay. It's not his blood. Thanks.
Also, just to point out the art in the time machine, which I think we see at this point. We see like a screen, and there's numbers, and it's Back to the Future numbers.
Oh my
Oh, is
god.
it?
Yeah.
I didn't notice. That's
Nope.
great. And, and then while they're traveling, he's in the cylinder with Suzuha, and there's sparks everywhere. Which I feel like I've read in other time travel stories as well.
yeah, the sparks that go in rainbows.
Yeah, I don't know when. I mean, was it Timeline? Was it Michael Crichton's Timeline? Maybe. I don't know. Anyway.
So I don't think they ever tell us whether or not, but do you think that they experience the pulling sensation going forward in time too? Because if so, he just killed someone and felt awful about it, and then also had to experience an excruciating pain himself.
No, it's a rough day for Rintarou, to be sure.
Yeah, he's not even halfway there to how rough this day is gonna be.
Yeah, it gets even rougher because once they get back to the present, Suzuha just kind of spills the beans and is like, you had to do that. You had to fail. And that's a little fucked up.
Mayuri slaps him and is like, snap out of it. You don't fall into despair.
So Suzuha had to pretend being surprised that she got stabbed. Like, oh no, it didn't work this time.
Yeah, and she's like, yeah, this was all part of the plan. You had to fail the first time. I'm sorry. It's part of the whole timeline thing. And then she's like, you should check your phone. And suddenly, Rintarou gets a text with instructions to turn on the TV. And he's like, what? Is this a D-mail? And it is a D-mail from future Rintarou. So we also get the cool sort of bit of experiencing what it's like to receive a D-mail from your future self, which in all the previous situations we haven't like experienced this directly as Rintarou. Mm-hmm. We've just seen the evidence of it.
And then we get pretty much my favorite scene.
Yeah, so the D-mail says to turn on the news.
Which he can on his phone, because, okay,
Yeah,
sure, my phone is also a TV.
Sure.
Yep.
Well, that actually checks out for that period of time in Japan. All the phones were
Really?
TVs, yes.
Oh my god, that must have been the shittiest TV signal.
That actually went away when they went to smartphones. But all these,
my God.
all the feature phones had a TV function.
So were these like they had like actual TV signals they were receiving like over the air broadcasts?
Yeah, it's called one seg. It was like a special, I guess, signal. But all the phones had it.
Yeah. And so anyway, it's a news report about how so a Russian airline flight flying from Japan to Moscow had a fire in the cargo hold, and luckily it cuts to the person who's there and is Dr. Nakabachi, and he's saying that he was
reportedly seeking asylum to Russia.
Yeah, he was emigrating. It was very much in the way of why would he need to emigrate? But it's very much in sort of like the thing where he's seeking asylum. Or he's going someplace where his work can be appreciated.
Or no, defecting was the word.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So either way, he's trying to establish something with the Russian government, and just straight up admits the fact that this was his new theory, and he says that he was going to just put his stuff in the checked baggage, and his thesis would have been destroyed. His Nakabachi thesis would have been destroyed, but instead, something in the package set off the metal detector. He had to take it out, and he checked, and he took the thesis with him onto the plane. So he preserved it, and he has it. And now he's going to, and he just says what it is. He says that it's his time travel thesis, and he's going to work with Russia, who can appreciate him. And the reason why it is because there was a hunk of metal in there, and when he pulls it out, they see on the screen that it's the metal Uma.
Upa.
Yeah.
Upa, yeah.
Metal Upa, that's where he went!
The full throwback to the beginning.
And now Mayuri's worst day of her life.
Yeah, shit.
My metal Upa's in Russia.
And it's got her name on it, too.
Yeah, and he's holding it, so yeah, we can see her name. It says Mayushi's.
Just in case you were wondering, is it that metal Upa? Yeah, it's that metal Upa.
Can you imagine if there's someone like in the audience like who were like of this game like, wait, was that the same one?
No, it's just a random metal Upa.
Like leaning over to you in a movie. Was that the same Upa?
Yeah, Mom.
Gosh, that's me when I see a movie with my parents too.
Same.
That's my wife, but usually because she's on the phone and not paying attention, but whatever.
Your wife is great. Don't shit talk her on this podcast.
I will. She's not going to listen.
Another thing that made me laugh is that Dr. Nakabachi's real name is Shuichi.
Oh, is it?
Oh, yeah.
I missed that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
His real name is Makisha Shuichi.
Yeah.
This is what happens when you do too much Psyche Taxi.
Oh my god. Don't give in to despair, Shuichi.
It's too late.
So the new plan that we have.
Yeah, so we get a video message then from future
That we
Rintarou.
already had on our phone from the beginning of the game.
Yeah, but we can see it this time.
Yeah, we could only see it on, I guess, this world line, but it's we can only see it after we fail at saving Kurisu once.
Yeah, they don't explain that either.
And I love this. At this point, we also start getting the opening music to the game.
The music in this game is great. I really appreciated the music in this chapter.
Yeah, but whenever like the opening music to something comes back at the climax, that is my shit.
It's good. It's very good.
You gotta have that bookend.
So what is Rintarou's plan?
We're going to take one of the future gadgets, the one that is like a sword that has like fake blood that explodes out of it, I think, or something that looks like blood.
Yeah, future gadget number 6, the lightsaber that shoots fake blood, which is great because also that's not how...
Yeah, that's not a future Rintarou's idea.
Yeah, but past Rintarou, what does past Rintarou tell us that we have to do?
Past Rintarou says, he does this very cool speech that I could not replicate, basically saying that everything we went through was to get to this point.
Oh, yeah.
And talking about, like, how we, stayed Ferris as that and, had to redo this. And basically all of this was to get back to this point, and the reason that he knows all this is because he is from basically this timeline where he failed to save Kurisu.
Where he stabbed her.
Yeah, where he stabbed her, and his trauma over that lasted until 2025, where he finally completed this plan to go back and save her. So we have 2 goals that we have to achieve, which is 1, make sure that the thesis gets destroyed, and 2, save Kurisu. And that will get us on Steins Gate.
Save Kurisu while fooling his past self, thinking that she is dead.
Yeah, he has to preserve his observations so that all of his shenanigans that in the course of the whole game still happen.
Because he has to be sad for the world to be saved.
Yeah, we have to trick himself.
Yeah,
he says we can't change the past anymore, we have to deceive it.
That's right. So he's going to take a bunch of fake blood, push Kurisu into it, so his past self sees that, assumes there's a murder, and everybody wins.
Yeah, and he jumps, so he's like, okay, I'm ready. I know what to do.
He got a stun gun and one of his future...
Can I pull out another thing that he was talking about in this message to his past self?
Oh, yeah.
He still signs off with Elsai Konguru, and he's like, I'm gonna name this Operation Skuld, and like just to remind us that he's still Chuny, and even
is doing a more refined Hoin Kyoma.
Yeah, and even his past self, our current, is like, I'm still like that at age 33, and this like revitalizes Okabe. This is the part that like he's like, all right, now I'm going with this Operation Skuld. That's stupid. Let's go for it. And he even, to add to that, the time travel machine was named C204. The C stands for Christina, and he's like, oh, I bet you can guess what the 204 is, what the 204 means. And it's nothing. It's like, it just sounded cool.
And Rintarou says about himself, like, this is such Chuny bullshit. It's great. I love Rintarou's, like, evolution as a character over all this, and where he, like, he's embarrassed about his past self, which is technically only from 3 weeks ago, but he has also, like, this intense fondness, sort of, for his Chuny bullshit, and it's just, like, it's very sweet. Like, I feel like every time I see him, like, when he expresses this fondness for his younger self, or his past self that, like, took this so seriously, I feel like it's like a very relatable and, like, almost inspiring thing, you know, to be able to look back on yourself at the most embarrassing parts of your life and like, still, like,
embrace
love
it.
yourself. Yeah. Like, I really love that about Rintarou as a character.
Also, Mayuri says, like, that his voice is so much deeper now, and it is, like, slightly deeper.
Yeah, it's just this guy, like, he's just kind of relaxed his voice a little bit, yeah.
And she's just like, oh, you sound cool.
His future self also talks about why he's calling this new timeline Steins Gate. And he says, you know why we choose that name, just because it sounds cool. Yeah.
Everything was leading up to this joke, and I love it.
It's great. I was genuinely inspired by this. This is very sweet.
Yeah, but then he comes up with the worst plan ever. He just
Yeah.
grabs the first thing that he thinks about.
Yes, tell me about the plan.
So apparently they have to go like immediately, which I don't think they actually do. He just wants to go immediately. So he gets Daru to bring him a stun gun, and Mayuri to go to the lab and get him the that light saber thing that they invented.
It's a glow stick lightsaber,
Right.
made so that you can have the most fun at concerts.
And what else does she bring him?
a banana.
A banana! Callback!
Yep.
I love that they made a lightsaber that shoots fake blood to make their battles more realistic, because as we all know, a lightsaber would not cause you to bleed. Oh, I love it.
Oh no, it wouldn't.
It would cauterize
Heroes
it.
disagrees.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, maybe they were going for a No More Heroes style
Well, that
fight.
came out later.
Oh well. Speaking of Chuny bullshit, another great classic. So he has a renewed sense of purpose, and Rintarou and Suzuha go back, and do it again. And he's like, "Are we gonna have to encounter ourselves again?" And she's like, "No," as we alluded to earlier.
Don't really explain why.
Something time travel bullshit.
The writers didn't want to deal with it. That's why.
Yeah, that's why. So, we're already real far gone at this point, so I was kind of like, okay. And, the first task, Rintarou obtains the metal Upa from the machine before Mayuri. So Mayuri just gets a regular Upa, and Rintarou has the metal one. I like this also because Rintarou did observe Mayuri's metal Upa, but he doesn't give a shit about it, so it doesn't matter that he maintains that observation.
Yeah.
Like, they don't really go into it, but, like, that's the implication. That, like, it doesn't matter because he didn't care about it. He didn't retain any of it.
As I was listening to this, reading through this, I added a secret side quest in my mind. It's like, oh no, Mayuri needs this again after everything's done. Not because, like, to maintain the timeline or anything, but because she'll be so sad. Or she'll be so happy to get it.
We also see how the Upa got into the envelope.
Oh yeah, Kurisu. So Mayuri drops it immediately, of
Yes.
course. And Kurisu finds it on the stairs and puts it in the little manila envelope, which is what she was smiling at when we saw her the first time, because there's a little Upa in there.
And Kurisu has the most amazing bending down and picking up the trinket animation I've ever seen in a visual novel.
Oh yeah, they do have her sprite just like go down and come back
It just
up.
kind of goes down and then comes back up.
I love that the time was taken, you know?
Like, if you're gonna do that, why did you even do it?
It's so funny. And later, or like earlier when she's fighting with Nakabachi, she does also like fade out and move downward to signify like falling to your knees or like falling down on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it's so odd. Because that hasn't happened in the rest of the game.
Yeah, only this chapter.
Yep.
It's very goofy. So Rintarou is waiting, lying in wait again, the second time here, and things are going wrong with the fake blood in the lightsaber. And
Oh yeah, there's this thing where it's like he has to shake it and then it like starts glowing and then it has to stop glowing, but then afterwards it starts coagulating and getting solid. Like it was a confusion thing.
Yeah. Because, like, he pops the cap and he's got 30 minutes, but it doesn't. It just starts immediately not doing what he thought it would.
Yeah.
yeah, he's like, we never tested this. Come on, Rintarou! You had all the time, but I think we probably figured that this fake blood was not gonna be enough anyway. So he has to figure out an alternative to reproduce the blood. And he watches the scene unfold again with Kurisu and her father. And he just fucking arms wide open is like, dude, come at me, bro.
In Kyoma mode.
Yes, he comes out as Hyo and Kyoma. Which, and I think it is the one interesting thing about Dr. Nakabachi as this final villain is that he is also a Ho in Kyoma, right? Like, he made up a fake name for himself.
He's kind of the real Ho in Kyoma.
Yeah, he is. He's actually delusional instead of Rintarou, who just, like, pretends to be delusional as a coping mechanism.
I'm starting to like him, actually, now as a villain. But anyway.
He's an interesting contrast to Ho in Kyoma.
I'm really not starting to like him.
But everything else about him is, terrible. Not well written, IMO. But he stabs Rintarou. Rintarou just gets stabbed. He doesn't try to defend himself. He just gets stabbed in the stomach instead of Kurisu. But he does also have a taser. So Kurisu runs up to him and is like, oh, to stop, like trying to stop everything. Nakabachi pulls the knife out and backs away as Rintarou brandishes the taser at him. He tases Kurisu to knock her unconscious. And then basically threatens Nakabachi. He also says, I'm gonna have my way with your daughter before I kill her. And Nakabachi just runs away.
Like, in like, the most crazy old man way, too. Like, he is lost at this point after he stabs him.
And so he takes the folder with him, but it doesn't matter because the Upa is plastic this time. So Nakabachi's out of the way.
And Rintarou's first thought is, oh, that's not enough blood.
Yeah.
Right.
And so he starts, he tears his wound even further open.
And screams. The blood-curdling scream. And he bleeds onto the floor, and he's like, well, I can't die because I have to be alive in the future, so convergence will keep me from dying, is basically what he's betting on here.
Yeah, sure.
But then he immediately realizes that if it works, then the future isn't defined anymore, and he could die.
Yeah.
Right.
And he's like, oh well. And so he bleeds a bunch on the floor. Suzuha appears to help him, and he's like, there it is, put her in the blood puddle, and so she does. And they've successfully recreated the scene, and so they leave and run back to the time machine. And Suzuha says, I really should have brought a first aid kit. And you know what, Suzuha? You
probably should have.
You knew this. You knew there was a knife involved ahead of time.
She's in war, though. Like, maybe it's, like, harder to get, you can't just stop.
None of those pockets on that vest have any sort of bandages or anything in them.
She's not Rebecca Chambers, okay? She's a friggin' warrior, alright? And thank God she's not Rebecca Chambers, because I hate her.
It's just gummy bears in there.
I blame Daru, because who invents a time machine is like, hey, you know what? This probably won't get us into any trouble. Not even going to include a spot for a first aid kit in here.
God.
He took the first aid kit spot out, and it's like a Pocky spot now.
Oh my God, that is what all of Suzuha's pockets have in them on her military vest.
It's
just
Pocky.
Like Pocky.
It's Pocky.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Some more figurines.
Yeah. Take this with you, my daughter, and it's a little Moe figurine.
If Daru's the one who trained her to survive in this apocalyptic wasteland, then yeah, it's Pocky and anime figures.
From a fucking gacha machine. Oh my God. With after the 5.7 billion people died, like, Daru was able to, like, have
Pocky is currency in the future.
Moe figurine collection on planet Earth.
Oh my God, Daru in, like, the ashes of World War III. At least I've got my anime figures.
Yeah, he went around and got them all. Oh my God. So, Rintarou boards the time machine with Suzuha, and they take off back to the present, hopefully to the new world of Steins Gate. Credits roll.
And, well, Suzuha is saying, well, I'm not sure if the credits roll or not, but Suzuha is saying that if this works, I'm probably going to disappear, seeing as how I don't really exist in this timeline. So I want to say thank you now, and we'll meet in 7 years, I guess.
In a way.
And it's just like, good talk.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's bleeding out, so he doesn't... So I wonder how they arrived to the present. Did he... I guess he just appeared.
Yeah, I mean, that's...
No, I think she took him in the time machine.
Yeah, but like, is the time machine still there?
Yeah, when does that disappear?
Because there's no mention of that.
It apparently disappeared after they came back. It doesn't really make sense, but yeah.
Yeah, so they had a moment to take him out of the machine and everything. He didn't just, like, appear by himself in a place.
I thought he was just on the...
I think they mentioned it in the epilogue that, yeah, they came back and then he saw her disappear before his eyes.
Oh, okay.
So the credits roll as they head to the new world, and we have a lovely version of the credits with sparkles and more special effects. And after the credits, we flash forward to 1 month later, after Rintarou is discharged from the hospital.
And he has the pins.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He commissioned the same foreigner that he found in the other timeline to make the pins that Suzuha had.
And they have all the letters on them. They're 2010. He goes out and gives them out to everybody. So we get to see all the characters and what happened to them in the world line of Steins Gate.
So who's... he first gives it to Mayuri and Daru, right?
No, Lucas first.
No, Lucas first. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, Luca. So he heads to the shrine and sees Luca, and Luca's like, I didn't know you were in the hospital. I'm so sorry. I'm so glad you're okay. And he goes, that's okay. I didn't tell you. Fucking Rintarou. So what happened to Luca?
Nothing much.
Yeah, Lucas was just sort of there.
But then there's like a little...
Well, they finally cosplay now.
Yeah, Luca
Oh, yeah.
tried cosplay, got really popular online, got some confidence in who she is, and confidence with herself, I guess. There's still some transphobic language in there, including a really bad one that people are still fighting about to this day.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But she is happy about cosplaying and is like, she's still too embarrassed to cosplay for Rintarou, but he's like proud of her and she's like, I've been practicing with Samidare, and he's like, okay, keep practicing, you have to ascend to the next level and all this stuff, and it's sweet. It seems like the right ending for those two, you know? I feel like on this trajectory, like Luca will continue to grow and won't just like continue to have a crush on Rintarou. Like she'll go out and live her own life, and that's good. And next, he heads over to the May Queen Nyan Nyan and sees Ferris.
Yeah, he shows her the badge, and she's like, where did you get this? You know, she does her own thing. And Okabe's like, I don't really get what she's doing, but I'll play along, I guess.
Yep.
Fucking Rintarou. Damn it. He never knows he doesn't know how to yes and Ferris. She is just going along with him all the time. He still doesn't know how to do it back to her. But he kinda does, a little bit.
He plays it up this time.
Yeah. More than he ever did before.
The big revelation with Ferris is that now she's getting into Rynet, which in this timeline she didn't have time for, but now she apparently does have time for.
Well, and he says, I don't know how she has time for all the things that she does. And he goes, but she's happy about it and she's not burned out. And he was like, I guess the best way to like feel good about your life is just do the things you love.
Shocking, yeah.
Which is, again, such like a 19-year-old boy-ass thing to say. Of like, what do you know? I never thought about it that way.
It wasn't complicated at all.
Yeah. Oh, and at the end of this scene, he gives her the badge, and it's that's sort of what this is all doing, distributing these, and she says that she wants to come over to play next time, and that's when he says, "Yeah, of course, Daru would be pleased too."
Yes,
which is our hint.
Yes. Headcanon.
Yep, there you go. This is when now that he's not going, now that she can't focus on him, it's like, well, Daru's around too.
Then suddenly all the villains appear.
And this one is weird.
This one is weird.
Yeah, Shido shows no.
Yeah, Shido, no. Shido's gone. But the Moeka, Mr. Braun, and Nai are all out front of the store. When he gets back to the lab, he's like, "What's Moeka doing here?" And Moeka is starting at the store as a part-time worker now. No idea if they're in the Rounders, if the Rounders still exist. I mean, probably not, right? That's the whole thing, right? There are no Rounders, so, like, what's their deal now? And Rintarou's like, I don't know what their deal is, I'm not gonna engage, but also I'm not mad anymore.
Yeah, he still keeps his distance. Apparently, because Moeka was still looking for the IBN 5100, apparently.
Yeah. And so that's how they know each other. And he said, I had looked at my phone and she had, like, sent me a text thanking me for helping her, so that's why I knew we knew each other. And so he gives her pin, and she's really touched by it, which would imply that this is also the same Moeka that is very desperately lonely.
It just tells her he won't be helping her look for the computer anymore.
I feel like this scene just doesn't work.
It's just so magically now Moeka is the actual thing she was pretending to be the first time. Like, that doesn't make any sense that she would, become this person. And, like, what kind of connection would she have to, none of this makes sense.
Yeah, like, what is her connection to FB now?
Yeah, I'm still thinking CERN is still there.
They say that she saved Naya or something, and that's why...
Oh, yeah.
Nai hurt herself and she, like, stopped and helped her, and that's how they met. But yeah, it does imply, like, a larger, like, that whatever that connection between them, like, that it still exists, but it was rewritten to be, like, for some other reason that's maybe more benign, maybe not.
Yeah. I mean, the way it is, it reads a lot like they're still with CERN. I mean, at least to me.
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
Yeah, I think so too, but... I think they're going
Who
for
knows?
like Moeka is getting new connections in another way other than just texting with her CERN boss.
Yeah, she actually talks to us instead of texting us.
So she might have a happier future.
And then he heads up to the lab, and Mayuri and Daru are there as always.
Then we give it to them.
Yeah, and Daru's like, cool.
Mayuri again immediately figures out what the pin is for. Knows all of their names, but is confused about A and K.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't explain it yet.
But he does say that. Doesn't he say you'll see one in 7 years?
Yeah, he's going to keep her pin and give it to her when she's born.
Yeah. Aww. And I think they get a confirmation. Yeah, they check the TV, and they get a confirmation that Kurisu's thesis burned up in Nakabachi's flight.
Oh, yeah, and he's super pissed, too.
Oh, and it's so satisfying.
Is it? I wanted him to die in a plane crash, personally.
Well, but he is completely shunned again, because the news is like, get a load of this guy.
Yeah.
Because he's like, oh, it was the thesis about time travel. It was going to change the world. And he's like, oh, why didn't you bring it on the plane with you, idiot?
And he's a suspect in the stabbing of a young man.
Yeah, he's also sputtering and indignant and threatening to kill everybody on Russia Airlines. So I think no matter what, he's gonna meet his bad end.
Yeah, for sure. So, after confirming everything worked out, Rintarou is like, well, I'm never gonna see Kurisu because she would have no reason to stay. She probably went back to America. And then he's walking around the train station and runs into Kurisu on the street by chance. They walk past each other and then both stop and then both turn around and look at each other. And she says, I've been looking for you to tell you thank you for saving my life. And he, like, again, doesn't really know what to say. But he says, like, it's good to see you again, Christina. And she is like, stop calling me that! Why don't you just call me by my name? And she, like, suddenly is like, she doesn't know why she said that. Because in this world line, they don't have that relationship. And Rintarou thinks to himself, well, that's right, everyone has reading Steiner. Not just me. Like, they just have to they just have to be giving a prodding to remember.
Yeah.
And then it kind of just leaves us there that that she maybe starts to remember that relationship, and they look at each other and
start making out.
Make a time machine. That's what we call having sex now.
Yeah.
The end.
Yeah, so good game.
That was really sweet. Yeah.
It was a satisfying ending.
Dr. Nakabachi, not great. Not a very well-written villain. TBH.
Not a well fleshed out villain, yeah.
Yeah.
Was really expecting more from that.
Not a deal breaker for me, though. I felt kind of like, at this point, we just kind of need to, I don't know. Yep. I mean, yeah.
Nakabachi's not that well fleshed out, and honestly, I don't think Daru is either. Like, he kind of acts as a plot device past a certain point.
Well, Ferris and Luke are also just plot devices in the end.
Yeah.
They're just they're there to flesh out the middle part and give Rintarou something to anguish about.
Also, like, harem ending people.
Yeah.
I'll say that too. I mean, are we in sum up kind of what we feel about Steins getting married? I was sort of surprised on the, like, hint of the dating sim aspect. I didn't think that part was coming into play at all, where it's like, you can sort of get an ending with everybody. And I mean, don't get me wrong, it wasn't like a literal sort of like, you could make Rintarou sleep with everybody kind of thing. I just mean, like, I was sort of surprised by that in general,
Mm-hmm.
It's less of a harem ending and more of, okay, at what point do you stop destroying people's lives? That's your choice.
Well, there's no quote-unquote harem ending either, like, or even the Steins Gate analog of it. But you know what I meant just in general, like, I is it Otome games? No, I forget what they call that. But, like, you know what I mean? Like, I guess I was surprised that this was sort of that, had a nod to that traditional sort of visual novel type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that there was a path where you could, quote, end up with...
There's a spin-off that's literally that, by the way.
Oh.
One of the spin-offs is like an alternate, like, comedic, romantic version, which just doesn't use to see more of the characters and get romantic with most of them.
Is it a doujin?
No, it's not. It's an official spin-off.
Whoa. Well, tell her me surprised again.
Wow. That sucks.
What do you mean that sucks? What? Hang on.
I mean, it's okay to like the characters and like want to see them in a different setting.
I guess I just like it hurts. I don't like the idea of like taking like characters from a very serious story and with a lot of like emotional weight to it, and then being like, haha, here's a fun, cute version. Today's menu for the Emiya family.
Oh, Japan is all over that. Japan does it all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, we had their story, Yeah. It's like putting Pyramid Head in international track and field. Like, what else are you gonna do with him? Just have fun, It's fine.
It is exactly like that. Yep.
Yeah. Well, it is.
When you're right, you're right. So.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a problem with that. I kind of like it, actually.
Yeah, at least in Steins Gate they have the excuse. I mean, they can say it's a different world line or whatever.
I don't think that kind of stuff really matters, that it's canon in any way.
I mean, I didn't play that spin-off, but I might. I mean, I like the characters. I want to see more of the characters, so it might be fun.
We mentioned that we're not doing Steins Gate as our Zero as our next next season, but are you all interested in playing that after this?
Yeah, I'm playing it right now.
Did this game intrigue you? Not.
I want to watch the anime, but my fucking wife won't, so I'll never get a chance.
I really want to watch the anime now.
I would like to watch the anime, yeah.
Well,
Steins Gate Zero, just to give you the premise, it starts after Rintarou fails, and it's set up to be like that timeline where he ends up 20 years in the future or whatever, sending him back the email.
Oh.
So it's a very different feeling. It's like almost no comedy. Very depressing, at least so far.
I have heard that it is very dark.
Yeah. It basically the first thing that you get in this game is like Rintarou 2 months later having panic attacks and like on medicine and goes to therapy.
Sad scientist, hopefully,
Wow.
Kiyoma.
Shit. I don't
It's the
Yeah, I could
want
probably.
to see. I would rather play the dating one.
yeah. See now, the dating one doesn't sound so bad now, does
We
it?
should play that on stream. Is what we should
But
do.
it's interesting so far. It goes places I didn't expect it to. I mean, I'm just starting out.
I could probably do without the 15 years of you and Gyoma traumatized and depressed and miserable.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
You do find out who Suzua's mother is in this game.
You do find out? Oh my god.
Yes.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Well, I got it. All right, now I want to play it. I want to play the weird Japanese like Famicom Detective Club kind of version that they have.
Yeah, there's this one. There's another one that's like a PC 88 game.
Yeah.
That the best thing about that one is the packaging. I actually got that. So they actually made like PC 88 packaging, which are these like big plastic like VHS type packages, and then the CD is in a floppy disk cover, and it's really neat.
Aww.
And there's that other spin-off that's coming out in English. That's like a collection, an anthology of short stories from each of the characters' viewpoints, and that's one that's actually pretty good.
Yeah, that one sounds like a good one for like, oh, I want to see more of these characters.
Yeah, except the Kurisu story in that one, I really didn't like.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's the one story in that game that's like set up to be. They say it's actually taking place inside the Steins Gate storyline. Most of them are like a different world line, like different alternate realities kind of stuff. But the Kurisu story specifically, it says it does something we didn't see during Steins Gate, and it kind of ruins that part of the game for me, I think.
Yeah.
Oh no.
It also tries to give us a kind of sympathetic Dr. Nakabachi, which felt wrong to me.
That's not happening.
Yeah,
Sorry.
okay, sure.
I'm Dr. Nakabachi, and I'm sad because.
And I really don't I don't mind spoiling it, but it also does that weird thing that says Dr. Nakabachi and Ferris's father were like classmates. They work together.
Wait, whose father?
Ferris's father.
Oh, weird. The two dads with sprites.
Yeah, I really didn't like the Kurisu story.
Oh, also Luca's dad has a sprite. Ew.
But the rest of them are good.
Also, all the characters went to school together, and they all have amnesia. Right, yeah.
In this prequel, all the dads are in high school.
Oh my god.
And then Metalupa shows up.
Yeah.
And then Joseph's controlling all of them.
No.
So
Not
yeah, Steins
again.
Gate had a lot of spin-offs and sequels. It was a really successful game.
Yeah, I definitely understand it. Like, it's very compelling. Like, I get it now. Definitely.
Yeah.
Like, if I ever find myself in Akihabara, I would think I would, like, care about being in these places or, like, seeing these, like, the Radicon building and
Yeah.
being like, oh, like, look at that. It's from Steins Gate.
I thought you were implying, like, if you went to Japan, you'd be like, well, who gives a shit about any of this? But Steins Gate gave you an appreciation for Akihabara. Sorry.
Well, maybe. I mean, I don't know. Like, Akihabara specifically, maybe. Japan in general, no.
Fuck traveling unless I can tie it to video games.
Speaking to the
Yeah.
tourist board, tell me the place where you and Kyoma lives. I don't want to go anywhere else.
Oh my god.
That actually is a big part of some tourist marketing campaigns. Like, I know that the town
like the anime division or whatever.
well, the areas featured in Shenmue like actively have used it to get people to visit their area.
Yeah. Yeah, but Kurisu and Rintarou are some of my favorite couples in
Yeah.
fiction.
Yeah,
in a
oh,
while
absolutely.
now. I really like the relationship.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a question for you, Orin.
Yeah.
Can you get Oopas? Do they sell Oopas?
I'm sure they did at some point.
I was trying to find one and I could not.
I'm pretty sure
You should
they
send
have.
him that really exclusive Japanese website called Google. No, sorry.
I did almost buy a
No,
Kurisu Android at some point.
Oh
I
my
asked because
God!
I went to MagFest and I got like some keychains for Steins Gate, which I normally would not have done, but we were playing this.
The Kurisu Android especially is really cute.
Oh my God!
Did you see the Steins Gate cosplayers?
I saw some of them.
I caught them. Because I was staring at Kurisu, and I'm like, the cosplayer, and I'm like, where the hell do I know her from? Because it's like that, it was like the lab coat kind of, you know? And then I saw, Rintarou, and I'm like, oh! And then I was like, cool, Steins Gate, and they walked away. I'm like, I should have gotten a photo. That was dumb of me. Whatever.
Oh my God! I want to cosplay as Ferris. Let's do that. Let's go down the line and let's assign. Which character in Steins Gate do you relate the most to for our next panel?
No, you're gonna fucking give me Daru. No.
What? I didn't say anything. I didn't say one thing.
Not once have I seen you wear a baseball cap.
That's fair. It's fair. The one problem. So, all right. I don't know.
But no, we're not doing that.
No.
Okay.
The moment's over. Y'all
are
assigned
cowards.
yourself Daru, and
Y'all are totally
we're
cowards.
done with this bit now. So yeah. So, folks, any other final thoughts about the game?
I liked it.
It was good.
Yeah, it was
It
good.
was good. Wasn't perfect, but it was good.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I think I've said it a couple times. It is long. It is a long.
I understand why it's popular. Did any of you actually did any of you see the movie, or did you not get to it?
I did not. I was gonna do that after this.
So yeah, so you should. The movie takes place like a year after the game, and it's a nice epilogue.
Does this have stage plays? Does this have stage plays, Orin?
Yes, it does. Of course. The footage
my
of this
God.
on YouTube.
Oh yeah, I did see that.
Go look on YouTube. It was like a weird thing. I'm not sure I get what they did, but it was like a multiple day stage play where they did all the endings or something.
Wait, you have to come back the next day?
Yeah, because they did all the endings. It was really long. I should read up more on it, but the footage of it on YouTube. Go look it up. The costumes are really good.
Wow.
I like the Nier Automata supplemental stage play that you have to do to actually get the plot of the game. That's fun. Anyway, sorry. That's a real thing, by the way. So.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it is. The only stage plays I went to were Danganronpa and Phoenix Wright.
They have Danganronpa too?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they've got tons of them. They're making them right now.
Fula Hoko got all the DVDs.
Yeah, do you just not pay attention to Polish Twitter at all?
No, of course not. Who the hell would? Jesus.
Call out.
Yes. Not like I text somebody, man. Anyway, so, all right. Is that it then?
Yeah.
Is that, the final?
Would recommend. Good game.
Yeah,
Good
thumbs up.
game. 10 out of 10 El Sai Congrus.
Absolutely.
All right.
What game are we gonna play next? I don't know. Fuck you. Bye, everybody.
You guys
I think
figure
we
it
do
out.
know, but yeah. All right.
El Sai Congru.
El
Sai
Sai
Congru.